Consider the following equation. 1 minus 2/5 x equals 3 to the x minus 4. Approximate the solution to the equation above using 3 iterations of successive approximation. Use the graph below as a starting point. So the nice thing here on this particular problem is that we don't have to type in the equation into Desmos. We already have it. So I'm going to switch over to paper here. In complete honesty here, I have gotten this problem wrong. I have gotten it wrong every time that I've done it, and I do not know where my mistake is. I actually have gotten the problem right on Edmentum, but I don't know where I'm making my mistake. So if you're watching this video because you're doing this problem, and you get the green or the red screen underneath, if you could screenshot it and send it to me so I can try to figure out what I did wrong. It's really starting to frustrate me. But in terms of the process, I know that I'm doing the process correctly. I just do not know what mistake I'm making every single time I do this problem. But here it goes. Can't see my work there, but up here is where we start. And when I take a look at this problem, the first thing that we need to do is we need to move everything over to the other side. So I'm going to do that in 2 steps here. I'm going to add the 4 to both sides, and we get 5 minus 2/5 x equals 3 to the x. And then we can move the 3 to the x over to the other side, and we get 5 minus 2/5 times x minus 3 to the x. And again, I'm not going to put equals 0 or something on there. I'm just because we're going to use that. And what we see in our graph is that our answer is going to be between 1 and 2. And what that means for us is that our lower bound, I'm going to abbreviate that as LB for lower bound, is 1. And our UB, our upper bound, is going to be 2. And we're going to take the average of those values. So we're going to take 1 plus 2 divided by 2 equals 3/2. So there is that value here. We get the 3/2. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that value of 3/2 and we're going to put it back into the equation. I have already done the calculations on my calculator. That's why I can do this. But it's 5 minus 2/5 times 3/2 minus 3 to the 3/2. I did use my fraction button when I'm doing these problems. And the fraction button is alpha. Oh, can't see it. It's alpha y equals and then number 1. That's your screen option. It gives you 4 choices. But that's how you can type that into the calculator if you want to, otherwise using Desmos. But when we type that in to the problem, we end up with negative 0.796. And because that value is negative, our new lower bound is 3/2, and our new upper bound, nope, not the new upper bound, our upper bound is still 2. And we're going to take that value then, or we're going to take these values here, and we're going to average them together. So 3/2 plus 2 divided by 2. And 3/2 plus 2 divided by 2 is 7/4. And we're going to put that value back into our answer here. And when we do, the 7/4 is what we're going to put back in. So it's going to be 5 minus 2/5 times 7/4 minus 3 to the 7/4 And when we type that into our calculator, into decimals, we should get something like negative 2.538. And again, because that number is negative, the 7/4 is going to be our new lower bound. So we've got lower bound of 7/4, and then our upper bound is still going to remain 2. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the average of these two numbers, which is going to be 7/4 plus 2 divided by 2. And 7/4 plus 2 divided by 2 is 15/8. And now we're going to take that 15/8 and we're going to put that back into the problem. So I'm going to stay on the same page here. I'm going to come back up here. So it's going to be 5 minus 2/5 times 15/8 minus 3 to the 15/8. And when we do that, when we type that into our calculator or into decimals, we come up with negative 3.595. And again, that value is negative, and because that value is negative, then 15/8 is going to be our new lower bound. We're going to keep our upper bound at 2. And then we can finish the problem because we're going to take the average of these. 15/8 plus 2 divided by 2. And I ended up with 31/16. But you can't see that, but let me scoot that up there. But when we go back to Edmentum, and sorry, my iPad turned off, so I have to turn it back on. But I'll pull it up here momentarily. So here's the problem, and there's the 4 answers. And I ended up with the denominator 16, so I picked this answer, which is correct, but I do not know where I went wrong in the problem. I think that I did the process correctly. So if you, again, are watching this video and you can get the pink or the green underneath and you can send me a couple screenshots, I would really like to know where I made my mistake. My process is correct. So I just wish that I could have gotten the problem correct. I don't know if Edmentum maybe got the wrong answer. But again, any help that you can give me, I would really appreciate it.